G'day photographers. I just thought for this video I would just do a bit of an edit on some photos that I captured only this morning up at Toomulla Beach. So you can see this one here I've already shared on social media, etc. It was a beautiful sunrise with those awesome crepuscular rays at sunrise. So yeah, it was pretty cool, but I just thought I'd run through a bit of an edit on one of the other photos, or a series of one of the other shots that I captured this morning. So I've got those ones highlighted in green here, so yeah, just thought I'd run through another edit, and so you can see sort of like the background editing behind these types of shots. So first things first, when I capture these sorts of shots, like I used a Nissi reverse graduated ND filter to capture all these shots. Otherwise the dynamic range would just be too wide with the bright sky and the dark foreground. So but even though I'm still using a filter, I still take 3 different exposures. So yeah, it's good to have the 3 different exposures. You can either pick one and use one, or you can blend them together, and that's what I'm going to do with this series of photos. So I've got these ones here highlighted in green, so I'll just highlight all those. I'm just going to sort of run through this fairly quickly. I'm going to do a more comprehensive editing video later on, so where they'll be covered in a lot more detail. So but for now I'll just run through it quickly. So I've got those 3 photos highlighted, so I'm just going to right click, go photo merge, HDR, and that'll blend those 3 photos together there. So you see that's the preview of the result, and then we've just got to go merge, and you see up in the top left hand corner there it's I'm merging those into, and it creates another photo when it's finished. And there it is there. If I hover over the photo, you can see it's designated with HDR. So it's that one there. I'll just mark that with a star. So if I click on that now, that's the photo. So that's not a bad starting point. Yeah, so I might just we'll just work on that a bit more, and see how we go. So I'll just go into develop mode with this, so you can just hit D on your keyboard to go into develop mode. First thing I sort of look at, just going to close that. First thing I sort of look at here is a histogram, so you can see there's a bit of dark stuff happening on the left. So I might just bump the exposure up a little bit, just to push that histogram over to the right a bit. And you can see it's brightened up a lot of the dark areas there as well. Just bump the highlights back, and I might just push the whites over a bit to try and spread that histogram out a bit more. That's probably all I'm going to do there, but I'm going to jump across into Photoshop because I want to remove some of these footprints and stuff out of this photo as well, to make it look a bit better. I love these lines, or water lines in the sand here, so I just want to clean that up and sort of amplify those lines a bit better, so that we've got, you know, nice leading lines, you know, through up into the image. So I'll just jump back out of develop mode. So we're back in library, and we'll just right click and just go edit in Adobe Photoshop. Okay, there we are. Normally the background layers locked there, and you normally need to duplicate the layer, but we'll just do that anyway. So just Control J just duplicates that layer, just so you've got a workable layer. If it's locked, there's some things you can't do. So the first thing I might do there is just like just a straight curves layer, and hitting the auto button up here is a good little thing to do. And then you can also hold down the Alt or Option key, I think it is on a Mac. So hold down Alt and then click that auto, and it brings up this little contrast box. So this is actually quite good, and you can just click on all these options and you get all different versions of what it's trying to do. And you can also snap the midtones as well, which can give you some interesting effects. So I'm just sort of playing around with just trying to find one I like. Probably that one there, I reckon. So we'll just we'll go with that. Okay, so I might just try and clean up some of this. But actually, before we do that, I'll just duplicate, or just clean up or merge all the layers up. So Control Alt Shift and E to make a new layer. I'm just going to go to the crop tool, and if you click on straighten up here, there we go. So we're on straighten, and I just want to straighten up the horizon. It shouldn't be too bad. So I'll just click and hold there, and run that over like that, and just let go. It's made a slight adjustment there, so I might just crop in a bit as well. Just to get rid of you can see those artifacts around the edge of the image. That was from when we leveled the horizon. It shifts the photo, so it's good to just crop in a bit and just to get rid of those. Okay, with these like footprints and that, the best way to sort of get rid of them, I'm just going to merge that layer up again, just so I know I've got a clean layer. What I typically do is just grab a good section of pixels and just highlight them with the square tool there, and then just go Control T to so we can transform, and then I can just drag that across like that, and I can even rotate it a bit, something like that. Something like that looks good. Working with pixels is the best way. If you use the clone tool, it gets a bit messy sometimes. I do use it a little bit, but yeah, generally working with pixels is a good thing. So now we just need to add a layer mask to that, and you can see there we've still got this, so we've got our layer mask. So now we just we'll just go to a brush. Actually, we need a black brush here, so we just hit X to swap that over. And then we've got 100% opacity and 100% flow, and we'll just brush over that to go back to our starting point. So basically we're just erasing those pixels that we put over the top. And now I'm just going to reduce the size of the brush a bit, go to a white brush now, so we can, and then just sort of brush the changes in like that. You don't really need that bit, so you can just sort of flick between brushes. You don't need that bit. Oops. There we go. We've lost our brush, that's why. Alright. Now I'm just merge up those layers again, so Control Alt Shift E just to make a new layer. Just going to zoom in a bit, so Control Plus and then hold the space bar down to sort of shift across. I'll just use the clone tool just to tidy up a few things. So clone tool over here on a fresh layer, and we'll just a few of these little tiny adjustments like that are alright with the clone tool, but you don't want to be doing major major things like fixing all this up. So that's not too bad. I might just fix up a few of these just so I've got a bit more of an area to drag some good sand from, so to speak. That doesn't look too bad. Alright, so now because we've used the clone tool on that layer, we need to merge our layer up again, just so we start with a fresh layer. So again, we'll just grab a section. It doesn't matter if there's extra bits in there, you can always wipe them out. So go Control T so we can move those pixels across, and I'm just going to shift that across there. So what I was looking there to line up is this shadow at the top, so I'm just going to make sure that's in the right position so that it looks realistic. Again, add a layer mask to that, and then go to our our brush, and we're on our black brush. So just make sure all that's gone, and then we can just swap to our white brush by hitting the X. Reduce the size of the brush with the bracket keys, and then we can just brush those out like that. See, that looks pretty good. And again, you can just swap with the X key just to swap between your brushes. Alright, so we'll just merge up again. So we'll go to our rectangular marquee tool. I was trying to think of the name of it before. So I'm just going to grab a big section of this good sand. Control T again. And we're just going to shift it across. You can reduce the opacity of this layer if you're down to about 50%, so you can see what's underneath it. So occasionally you need to see where things are that are underneath it. So I might just go with something like that. You just got to remember to bring that opacity back up. Again, add a layer mask, and then select our brush, and X to go back to our black brush. Bracket keys to make our brush bigger, and then we'll just wipe all that out. And then we'll just make our brush smaller and go back to our white brush over here, so hit the X, and then we can just slowly get rid of some of those. X again, just to looking a bit better. So merge up again, Control Alt Shift E. Just going to go to the clone tool again and just sort of tidy up a bit of these. You can see how that there looks messy. We probably won't do this actually because it's just going to look messy. You can see there how it starts to look like splotchy and and everything. So we won't do that. So yeah, you just want to try and avoid that. So we'll just drag that layer down to the bin and get rid of that. So we're going to merge that layer up again, and we'll grab our rectangular marquee tool again, grab some good sand, Control T. Just gonna, so let's go over this way. Just go there and see how we go. So add our layer mask again, back to our brush. You can just hit the letter B on your keyboard to go for your brush. Back to our black brush, so we need X. Bracket keys for our brush size, and just wipe all that away. Just reduce our brush size, X to go to a white brush. You can see there we're changing those pixels into the nice clean sand. Alright, it's looking a bit sort of funny in here. I might just reduce the opacity a bit, so to about 50. Go back to a black brush and just paste some of that out. Swap back again. Just make it look a bit better. That's better. Alright, merge up again. The rest over here is not looking too bad. I just want to fix up this bit to make it look a bit cleaner. So we'll grab our tool again. Sometimes you just got to fix these one by one. So that looks. Layer mask again, brush, black brush, increase the size. Opacity still on 50 there, so I'll just bump that back up. That's why it was a bit slow. Swap brushes. It's looking better. Alright, merge up again, and we'll just fix up this last little bit, and then we're almost done. So the more you do, the more area you get to work with. So Control T to swap that over again. Add our layer mask again. B for our brush. We're on our black brush this time. Bracket keys for our brush size. Just wipe all that other area out. Reduce brush size, and then just, whoops, I'm going to swap our brush to a white. I'm just going to leave that little twig there as well, if you don't mind that. Alright, so let's merge up again, and this time we'll just grab our clone tool and we'll just fix up a few of these things. It's looking a bit messy, but we'll just leave it for now. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to get rid of it because it looks like crap. So merge up again, just delete that layer. We will grab a section here. Control T. Just going to reduce the opacity of that layer, so we can see where we need to put it. Out there somewhere, I think. The OK button, and then we need to add our layer mask. B for brush, X for our black brush, brackets for our brush size. Brackets for our brush size, X to swap brushes. I've got a bit of a shadow there. I could make that look a bit better, but it's not too bad. Actually, we'll so I'll just merge up again. I'll just use the clone tool to get rid of those. Might just make it a bit smaller. That looks alright. Alright, so that looks a lot better. Just looks a lot neater, and you got those more defined leading lines leading into the image. I don't think there's anything else I would probably do in Photoshop. I'll probably take it back to Lightroom now and do a few more adjustments there. So we might just do that, but I might just to get rid of all these layers, we'll just go up to layer menu and then flatten the image. That'll just reduce all the layers that we don't need. I don't need to keep those, and they just take up heaps of extra space as well. So if you don't need them, then just flatten the image and keep the file size to a minimum. So Control S to save the image, and you'll see it's saving down here. So you know, even though that's been flattened, it's still a couple of hundred megs. So now back in Lightroom, we've got our image here that we've in Photoshop. So you can see the differences with that contrast adjustment. You can see the differences we made. The blues are a lot better in the sky. So we'll just go D for develop. So the good thing about going back and forwards is in Photoshop is when you come back into Lightroom, all your sort of layers are reset, so you can sort of start doing some adjustments again. That gives you a bit more scope. So I'm just going to do some basic like highlights and shadows, just to give it a bit more detail in the shadow areas. Don't want to go drop on the highlights too much. Now, our little indicators on our histogram, we can spread those out by, so you just spread the whites to the right until your little indicator comes on, and your blacks to the left, so it just creates a bit more contrast. I don't want to play with the dehaze slider too much because that'll just send it bloody apocalyptic. One thing that will be good for this one though is a bit of a texture adjustment. So if you look at the rocks in the middle here, really add some detail to all those rocks, and also the timber, the bit of driftwood there as well. So I might just sort of push that over a bit. The other thing I like about this photo is the light on this side and along the beach there. One thing I should have covered before was a bit of sharpening. Normally just add, around 30 is a good thing. Leave the radius and detail somewhere around 50 is good. With this masking slider, this is a good one. So if you hold down Alt or Option, hold that down first and then click on the masking slider, it goes white, and if you slide that across to the right, you can see it goes white and black, so the white areas will be sharpened and the black areas won't. So you just let that go, so that means the sky doesn't get sharpened. You don't really want to sharpen the sky. Don't really need any noise reduction on this. You see this little preview screen here, it's pretty good. I can't see any colour noise or main noise in that, so I won't need to do anything there. One thing I did just notice though, and I need a sensor clean, so I just grabbed a little spot removal tool. I know I've got one up here somewhere too, I think it's there. So again, bracket keys, even though you're in Lightroom. Actually, I'm just gonna get out of that, so you can just hit the zoom button and then drag around. There's one up there, so just get rid of that, and then you can grab the space bar and drag around. Now I saw a couple over here. Need to get my sensor clean kit out. Hardly ever have dirty sensors, but I've got some shit in there somewhere. So I'll just clean these two up. And just hit done, and then zoom back out. I think that's it. So you can see this photo here, aperture I shot it at was f11, ISO 400, because when I took this series of photos it was still reasonably dark, so yeah, you just had the ISO a bit higher just to shorten the shutter speed up. And 0.6 of a second gives you a nice effect on the waves as well. So if we zoom in there, so we've got good detail on the driftwood and the rocks. And we've cleaned up that area of the image. One final thing we can do is just have a bit of a look at before and after. So this is only giving, actually I won't do it that way. What we'll do is we'll go back to the library mode. And here's our, so this is our image. So if I select both those, and then I can go X and Y here. So you can see there's a before and after those. So that's our raw file, and there's our final edited image, so you can see how much better it is in all the shadows, and we've cleaned up that area there. So pretty big difference, and a lot more detail in the highlights and colours in the sky. So that's a good comparison as well. You can click those two images, or if you've done all your adjustments in one image in develop mode, you can just hit the X and Y in develop mode and you'll get it before and after that way as well. That's about it. Thanks for watching along. Bit more of a longer video this time, but thanks if you're still hanging around. We'll see you in the next video. Cheers.